Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 30th of January 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for this evening's news. Today we got three stories for you. First, we're going to talk about a rumor where Microsoft may want to buy Electronic Arts. Big stuff. Secondly, we're going to talk about the new Hearthstone patch notes, which, you know, Hearthstone is one of the biggest games out there, so patch notes are actually pretty significant for a large portion of the gamer population. And last of all, we're going to end on a nice story about a D&D player whose friends came to him in a hospital to play some D&D. But let's begin with the rumor. Ever since Microsoft replaced their leader for the gaming part of their conglomerate, there have been a lot of speculations concerning that EA might want to buy some big companies. And the latest one, which comes from Polygon, that suggests that a reliable source told them that Electronic Arts has been mentioned as a possible acquisition by Microsoft. You need to remember, EA is one of the biggest gaming publishers in the world. And it would certainly cost a lot of money, even compared to the largest acquisition that was Mojang and Minecraft in 2014, which had cost already itself $2.5 billion. That's already a lot of money. EA would probably cost multiples of that. I'm going to assume at the very least $25 billion, likely more. Let me actually try to Google this current price of EA. Okay, so each of their stocks cost $118. Amount of stock EA. I don't see how much they have. EA value. Evaluation. Now, what we know is that they lost over $3 billion in value just after the Battlefront stuff happened. The total price of EA, okay, so I found it. The enterprise value is at around $32 billion. And it would have to be above that for the company to sell. So I'm going to assume at the very least $40 billion for EA if Microsoft would actually want to spend that. There have been other companies actually circulating, you know, like rumors. One of them was Valve, which I think is just out of question. Why would anybody sell Valve? It's the biggest cash cow in the gaming industry there is. Another name was PUBG Corporations, you know, because they already have the exclusivity with Xbox One for PUBG. And I actually think that will be the case. I don't think it will be EA. It will certainly not be Valve, but it may be PUBG Corporation, because that just makes too much sense for EA to buy, as people will probably eat up any game that comes out of them just because it is published, it is created by them. The real question is, can they create more big hits? They've certainly created a big hit. They created the biggest hit there is on the market, but really, can they reproduce that success in the future? That is not always as easy as it seems. You know, you can make one good game, you can create one great game that sells like crazy. But whether you can create multiple games that sell well and make a profit is a completely different question. Okay, let's move on to Hearthstone. So Hearthstone, you know, probably the most popular card game that is probably on the planet right now, is getting a little bit of nerfs, finally. I don't know. I actually like to play casually Hearthstone at this point. I used to be quite serious about it. But ever since it became more and more aggro, I've been getting bored with it. And the changes that are coming to it right now are actually big nerfs to aggro. So let's start with Patches the Pirate. Right now that is a 1/1 charger who, whenever a pirate is summoned from your deck, it gets put straight into play. Right now, it will get summoned, but it will not have charge. That's a huge change. You know, instead of getting a 1/1 charger for just playing a pirate, you will be getting a 1/1. That's still good. Maybe even a 2/2 if you played South Sea Captain, I think. You know, the one who buffs pirates. That's great value. For 3 mana, you get 5/5 in stats, but no longer a charger. Secondly, Raza the Changed, which is the Priest Legendary that currently does that if your deck has no multiples, duplicates, you know, you have only one of each card, also called the Highlander deck. If you play it, your hero power costs 0 from there on. That will get changed into 1 mana. So from 0 mana for your hero power going to 1 mana, that's a giant difference, because the deck that uses this is called, what's it called? The Minigun Priest or something like that. You know, it just kills you with its hero power because it can abuse the fact that it costs 0 mana. Once it costs 1 mana, it will be a completely different story. Even if you have 10 0 mana cards in your hand, the maximum damage you will be able to do in a single turn will be 20 damage. Right now, you're capable of doing actually more, especially if you have Bellon on the board. Though with Bellon, they can still do 40 damage in 1 turn, considering 0 mana cards, 10 0 mana cards. But that is, oh, actually it's 9. It's 9 0 mana cards, but that is quite unlikely. Next up, something I think people will be actually surprised about how much this got nerfed is Corridor Creeper. You know, Corridor Creeper, right now, it's a 7 mana 5/5. That sounds horrible, but for every minion that dies while this is in your hand, it gets discounted by 1. Combine this with the free charger you get from your deck whenever you play a pirate, Corridor Creeper could get to 0 mana quite rapidly. You could sometimes play it as a 0 mana 5/5 on turn 3. Now, that was ridiculous, and it's going to be changed into a 7 mana 2/5 that has discounted for every minion that dies while this is in your hand. I think that changes it very rapidly from a aggro tool into a control tool. And to be honest, I'm fine with that, though I think a more balanced nerf would have been a 3/5. And last of all, card that every Arena player hates, and since I play Arena, I'm really glad about this, Bone Marrow, which is a 7 mana 5/5 which buffs one of your minions by 4 and 4 and adds taunt to it as a battle cry. And it's going to be changed into an 8 mana card. This is, I think, a fair nerf, you know, because you were essentially getting a 9/9 with 4 being a charging minion, assuming you had a minion on board already from the previous turn. Right now, it's going to be changed into an 8 mana tool, making it much harder for aggro and tempo decks to abuse it. And that's it for the changes. If you're playing Hearthstone and you are actually interested in these changes, you can find them. Just go to hearthstone.com and you will find them there. You will also find discussions about whether people think these changes are fair. And last of all, let's talk about something that I actually found sweet. So, who doesn't know Dungeons and Dragons? It's probably the game many of us first played before we even saw video games. You know, Dungeons and Dragons is essentially a storytelling game, and if you don't know what it is, I highly recommend you find it. Find a group to play and have fun. It's amazing. And there was a group of people who just liked to play in person instead of, you know, using some software, because that is what you can actually do. And they were playing, you know, a little bit of a campaign, which was exploring the hidden shrine of Tomakon. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And one of the players, named Tony, who played a level 5 warlock named Virus, sadly, very sadly, suffered an aneurysm. And yeah, that's a serious thing to happen. Luckily, he's now recovering as he had some surgery and, you know, is being treated, etc., etc. It's not really important. But his group actually came to him to play D&D with him to, you know, cheer him up. And this is so awesome, as it just shows you the power of how gaming can bring people together. And I love it. So if you want to make good friends, this is a great way to do it. And that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribing to our channel. If you are watching this on Steemit, maybe you want to give us an upload and follow our blog. Either way, you should leave a comment. I think today the going to the hospital story to play D&D is very nice. It's the one that deserves a comment. But also you can tell me what company you think Microsoft will try to acquire. That is also very interesting. Be sure to also tune in tomorrow, as we are a source of daily gaming news every single day. That is sort of the point of the word daily. And see you guys later with more gaming content.